Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 30-day yoga challenge. I'm Sommer Sobin. I'm one of your guides along with Paul Sobin. Today's practice will introduce the series that we are beginning together for a new year, a new restart. And I want to give you a little bit of a map of what we're working with here. So over the next 30 days, you will receive a new class in your subscription library the evening before. So that way, wherever you are in the world, whatever time zone you're in, you'll have something to wake up to. We recommend doing these classes in the morning, but that may not be the best for your schedule. So fit them in whenever you can. It can be helpful to find the same rhythm just to keep you building a new habit. So maybe lunch hour is your hour, or in the evening, a wind down practice. But finding some kind of consistency can be very helpful just for habit forming. These practices are built for mixed levels. So we're giving a lot of modifications and tips on alignment, ideas of how to utilize props so that everyone can feel that you can find a place to work with and honor your own body, your own edges, feel empowered to be right where you are. And that really is an important part of this practice. We're not trying to make the body change or make it be something that it's not at this moment. We're learning how to radically be with ourselves, be with the feelings, the emotions, be with the feeling of sometimes physical tightness, feeling stuckness, feeling joy and freedom. And so the more that we can actually make space to be with what is and not resist or try to change otherwise, we actually are then entering the groundwork of a potential of profound transformation. But the gaze is on just the fullness of what's here and now. So within this 30-day challenge, you'll see the daily practices that pop up. And you'll also see that through the week, we have a mixture of thought out sequences. So you're not doing the same thing every day. It's meant to really bring in a lot of different movement, focus on many different areas of the body throughout the week itself. And we are firm believers of days of rest. And depending on your body, you might need a couple more days of rest. So you get to choose to repeat any of the classes. Skip maybe the one that comes up if it's not the best thing for your energy, if you're needing more rest or healing. And on the weekends, generally you'll find a restorative style class. So around day 6 or 7, whenever that lands, we tend to have an offering of a deep guided relaxation. This is called Yoga Nidra. It's a long form style of Shavasana, which is really powerful. Gets us to do some of the inner work of resting with presence and working with intention and really allowing integration for the body itself. And then we'll have practices that are meant to really get us spiced up and sweaty and kind of meeting a healthy edge, and practices that are more grounding and calming and cooling. So welcome. We're so excited to have you here and to kick off this new year, this 30 days together in community. And here we go. Today's practice is based on sun salutations. There are a million different ways to spice them up, to work with them. We'll do some of the classic forms, and we'll weave in a couple of standing poses as well. So the intent here is to build some heat, to get on sort of similar, same page of what our salutes are, and then how to be creative with them. And maybe this will inspire you in your own home practices when you want to just free flow, get on the back deck or go outside in the yard and just be inspired to move. So please start in a comfortable seat. You can use your hands to reach under your seat and widen the sitting bones. Those are the bottom pelvic bones where all the weight is coming down on. Commonly when we sit, they'll just tuck right under. So as soon as we create this movement of widening the buttock flesh and also the bones, the pelvis can slightly tip forward, allowing the lower back to go in and up. You're able to sit taller with more ease. Please close your eyes for a few rounds of breath. Breathing in and out through the nose will be with us throughout this entire practice. This is one of the principles of how we work with the breath in the Hatha Yoga practice. The word Hatha means sun and moon. Ha, sun, ta is moon. And so the idea of this movement-based yoga practice is to play with complementary opposite energies, the balancing capacity of using effort and exploring ease, finding that sort of middle place of grace, of insight, working strength as well as finding relaxation and receptivity. You'll find this blended throughout every single practice. So as we are turning inward and just feeling what's here today inside, feeling the quality of breath, the energy in your body and your mind. Take note if you're feeling light, vibrant, energized, or cold, heavy, kind of slow, and just without judgment to that. We're going to take a snapshot and come back to that at the end of our solar practice today, honoring the sun, building some heat. The Surya Namaskar is the Sanskrit term for sun salutation. Reminds us that we, as different as we may feel as humans or living beings on this earth, are all interconnected, all alive through the breath and through this radiant sunlight. And in the yoga tradition, we have what's called tejas. This Sanskrit word points to the inner light of you, the aliveness, the light in your eyes that gets shinier, brighter, more radiant at the end of a practice. How the spirit receives wisdom, and there's a nourishment of the soul when we're tending to the complex being that we are. We're not just doing exercise. We're not just stuffing information in our heads in our days of life, but really feeding and honoring that we are multidimensional beings. So let's take one more breath here, planting our intention for this 30 days of whatever is to come, open to those blessings, insights, grace. And then open your eyes, come all the way to standing at the top of your mat. You can choose to have blocks or not. I'm going to show the first rounds with blocks so you know how to work with them, and then you can continue on or shift. So stand with your feet hip bone distance at the top of your mat. Blocks could be flanked alongside you. This is mountain pose, palms forward, shoulders back. Take a couple breaths, feel the grounding from the pelvis downward to your legs and feet. And out of that grounding, there's an upward lift from the pelvis rising all the way out through the top of the head. So a feeling of earth and sky here. You can join the hands in prayer in front of the heart. This is known as Anjali Mudra in the yoga tradition. And this is inviting us to just take a moment, infuse your movements, your practice with gratitude, just simple things of every day that we take for granted, people that support us, cheer us on, that unconditionally love us. We're waking up to the life that's here today, not taking it for granted. Let's weave the spirit in our movements. Take a nice breath in. Exhale, lower the arms. Breath leads the way. Inhaling, arms sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Let's start with bent knees, allowing the pelvis to tip forward as you bow the head. With hands on floor or block, inhale with straight arms. Look out, lengthening the torso away from the spine. And then fold in. Inhale to step the right leg a long step back to lunge. And so I'm going to slide the blocks back so the hands are on the blocks in line with the front ankle itself on the same plane there. Front knee bent to a square. Look forward, take a nice stretch, lengthen the legs. From here, downward facing dog. Now your blocks can be at the high level, or I'm going to take them down a notch here. Fingers are spreading. The palms are flat, and you're pushing back through the hips as you stretch the arms fully. With the feet hip bone distance, bend the knees here and take a moment to deepen back even more through the hips. Full breath here, stretching the entire back chain of the body. And now press through your legs, plank pose, shoulders stack over the wrists, fingers are spreading, gaze is forward rather than under or down. And the knees come down to the mat. Tip the tailbone skyward. Exhale, bend the elbows to lower the chest. Keep the elbows in close, not super wide. Once you're down, point your toes. Inhale up, a little low back bend here. Cobra, baby cobra. Feet are pressing down. Tailbone roots down. Hands are pressing down. Shoulders broaden and move back. The eyes start to look up. Exhale to unfurl, lower down. Press up through table, hands and knees as you tuck your toes under. Tip the tail upward. Exhale, downward facing dog. And now with both legs either moving towards straight, unless that tends to round your lower back and pull the vertebrae up to the sky, you can stay bent knees. So you get to choose by feeling into your body there. And then with your next inhale, sweep the right leg high to get momentum. Exhale to step it forward between the blocks. Lunge, right leg in front. Wait for an inhale, left foot meets the right. Look halfway out with straight arms, firm legs, and bow. Inhale, ground the base, rise up, stretch up, look up. Exhale and fold, diving back in with symmetry as you bow. Inhale, straight arms, heart reaches away from the hips. This time, left leg steps back, so we're switching, alternating side to side. From here, plank pose, palms flat, feet hip bone distance, gaze is forward. Knees come down, tailbone lifts a little bit more. Tone the belly as you slowly lower. Baby cobra, once again, point your toes. Try to spread your toes and glue them to the mat. Keep the elbows bent as you look up. And then lower all the way down. Press up for table, toes tucked. Exhale, downward facing dog. Either straight legs or bent. Another full breath from your shoulders, push down through the hands. Inhale to lift the left leg high. Exhale, step it through. You're back in lunge, gaze forward. Right foot meets the left, look halfway out and fold. Inhale, ground the base to stand up. Exhale, hands pull down the midline as you fold. We're going now to either stay if you're liking the blocks or place them to the sides. Right leg steps back. This one, knee comes down. Anjaneyasana, low lunge, back toes tuck. Look up as you reach through your fingers to the sky. Exhale, hands plant down for plank. So fingers are spreading. Their hands are a little wider than outer shoulder distance. Firm your leg muscles and either lower your knees or Chaturanga Dandasana. A little hover and then all the way flat. That builds some heat. Point your toes, cobra, inhale. Now, make sure your hands are pressing into the mat and pulling back rather than pushing forward. It's an isometric action. Lay the head back a little bit more. Put a smile on your face. And then pressing through hands and knees, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift the right leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Look underneath your left arm to see your toes and lift the left shoulder as you take another breath. Use momentum, right foot steps forward, left knee comes down, Anjaneyasana, pelvis forward and down, look up. Exhale, hands touch down, left foot meets the right, feet hip bone distance as you look halfway up and then bow. Ground the base, rise to the sky, reach up, and then fold forward, hands pulling down the midline and bow all the way back in. Left leg steps back. Now either left knee down again or keep it elevated for a crescent warrior, a high lunge variation. Reach up, look up. Exhale, plank pose. Your choice, knees down or chaturanga, hover all the way down, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can move through hands and knees and then back or straight to dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bend the knee, open the hip. Again, see if you can peek underneath your right arm. See the toes. Lift the left knee a little more. Step it all the way through. Either knee down or keep it elevated. Reach up, look up. Hands touch down, right foot meets the left. Looking halfway out, firm the quads, keep the knees lifted as you bow. Root down, sweep high. Hands to the heart. Slow down the breath. Chair pose. Reach your arms by your ears as you sink your hips, knees track over toes. Scoop the tail under just a little, sink a little more. Exhale and bow, full forward fold. Step the right leg back. From your lunge position, we're going into plank pose, directly back. So watch the tendencies. Head under, belly and hips will tend to drop. Stay with me here as we do either lower knees down or up. 5 count. 5, 4, 3, 2, hover, splat. That's right. Point your toes, come up on fingertips for this cobra. Hands a little wider than the mat. And you can control increasing stretch by walking hands closer in, decreasing, walk them farther away. One more breath. Pull the belly muscles up towards the heart, back towards the spine. Lower down. From hands and knees, downward facing dog. Step the right leg forward into your high lunge here for a moment. Then left foot, this time steps to touch the inner right foot. Bow in, chair pose. Arms reach up, look up towards fingertips, scoop the tail under a bit. Rise up, back to chair. Twist to the right, left elbow to outer right thigh, hands in prayer, look up. Pull the left knee, left hip back. Come through center. Exhale, right elbow crosses over to left leg. Smile on the face. Back through center, hands touch down, and straight legs to bow. Step the left leg back. Lunge pose, squeeze the midline, stretch through your leg bones. Plank pose, gaze is forward. 5 count, lower down. 4, 3, 2, all the way. Point the toes, fingertip cobra. Sweep back then, targeting the mid back, targeting the chest. The higher up we are in the fingertips, the more intense the stretch. You can modify if you need to by coming flat hands as well. Exhale, long spine down. Press your way back to downward dog, aware of spreading the fingers, pressing through the inner hands as much as the outer hands. Press the mat away through the hands to send your hips back. You're lengthening your spine. And now left leg steps forward, lunge. Squeeze towards the invisible midline of the body, and then stretch from the pelvis out through the leg bones. Right foot meets the left. Look halfway out and fold. Staying in the bow, clasp your hands by interlacing the fingers or grab a strap. Separate the strap as wide as you need, a couple hands distanced, and start to stretch your arms up and overhead. A little soft bend in the knees. You're not locking in your knee joints. Turn your head side to side. Keeping the arms stretching out and away. Look to the right, gaze to the sky. Take your right shoulder back more. And then twist to the left. Lean your arms right. Come through center. Now, whatever thumb is on top, if you're not using a strap, shift the thumbs, shift all the other fingers. This less dominant side needs some love too. Stretch through the knuckles. Again, twist to the right, lean your arms left, look up. Twist your torso left, gazing to the sky, lean the arms to the right. And back through center, slowly through chair, keep the clasp, look up. Stand all the way, release the arms, shake it out. All right, woo. Take a nice wide stance, right foot steps back, and then parallel the feet so both toes are straight ahead. With hands on the hips, pull the energy up the legs like stockings. Lift your belly, lift your heart. And then begin to lengthen out and away with symmetry for Prasarita Padottanasana, the wide forward fold, where you can then slide your hands down the outer legs, maybe to the lower shins, ankles, and just let yourself fold in for a minute. Such a powerful stretch here. Most of us are tighter in the hamstrings and the back, so this wide pose is your best friend. You want to also, as much as we're trying to stretch and open, create stability by maybe spreading and lifting your toes, just the toes. Keep the inner and outer feet still rooted down to the mat. Draw the leg muscles up, so there's a sense of muscle energy lifting towards the pelvis, even as the leg bones press down. From here, plant the hands under the shoulders, straighten the arms, and we'll turn the right toes out. From here, you'll lift your torso for Warrior Two. Take a nice, powerful lunge. Track the knee over the toes. Widen the bent knee a little bit more towards the right. Keep the legs, reverse the warrior by placing the left hand to the side of the back leg. Right arm sweeps high alongside the right ear. Look up. Lift the ribs out of the hips. And then lean over, forearm to front thigh there. Left arm alongside the ear. Side Parsvakonasana stretch. Looking up. From here, ground the base to stand. Both legs straighten. And then we'll parallel the feet. From there, turn the right toes in, left toes open. Exhaling into the Warrior Two. Gaze over the left fingertips. Lunge a bit more with every breath. Widen the bent knee to the left. Reverse the warrior, right hand to the side leg. Let your left arm really help you lift out of your lower back. Parsvakonasana. Left forearm on the thigh, right arm sweeps long. You're stretching the entire right side of the body from heel to right fingertips. Look up. From here, touch down towards the front of the mat, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Lower your knees. Create that lift of your tailbone, arch of the back. We're going to lower and lift 5 times halfway down. Exhale. Inhale, press up. 2, elbows are in. Inhale to lift. 3, inner hands stay rooted. Press back up. 4, tone the low belly. Press back up. 5, pause and hover as low as you can. And then all the way down, point your toes for Sweet Cobra. Look over the right shoulder, stretch your right leg long. Look over the left shoulder, stretch your left leg long. Look back to center, gaze up. From here, press through the knees back to downward facing dog. Lift the right leg high. Step forward. Left leg meets the right at the top. Either hip bone distance or together with the feet. As you look out and lengthen, keep all that good space and bow. Inhale, ground the low body to lift. Hands come down the midline as you fold back in. Look halfway out. Bend the knees, either step or try hopping back to downward dog. So you can kind of explore, play around with the jumping. Might be like several bunny hops, it's all good. From here, plank pose. Back to dog. Shoulder flossing. Inhale, plank, gaze forward. Back to downward dog. 2 more. One last one. Back to downward dog. And from here, bring your knees down to the mat. Once again, tip the tailbone up, sitting bones up, belly toned. Take your time, like slow molasses to lower. Once you're flat, point your toes. Now lift your right leg, roll the thigh in, and then place the leg back down. Lift the left, roll the thigh in, place it down. Put one hand on your sacrum, the pelvis right above your tail. Press towards your heels. So now keep that as you replace the hands, thumbs next to the chest. Imagine dragging your body on the mat to lift. So when you can't pull forward anymore, you begin to lift. Explore straight arm cobra, how that tends to sit you in your back. Shoulders tend to round forward. That's not really the goal. We want to bend enough to lower to where the back bend is really focused in the chest, higher up. We want to stabilize the low back and broaden the shoulders back. From here, press through hands and knees to downward facing dog. And now left foot comes to the top of the mat. Next inhale, right foot steps forward and fold. Inhale, root down and rise up. Hands to the heart. Tree pose, stand on the right leg. Pick up the left ankle, placing the foot to the right inner thigh. Try, instead of leaning the pelvis forward, to move it back. Scoop the tailbone under. See if you can grow your tree by focusing on rooting down through the base, rising up, not just through your arms, but your ribs, the belly. From here, hands to the heart. Start to release your left foot, reach it back behind you. Big flex, toes point down, tip your torso forward. Either keep the right standing leg bent or straighten it. This is a variation of Warrior 3. If you want to heat it up a bit more, arms could reach back, or even extra spicy arms alongside the ears overhead. Stretch in all directions. Slowly come back, bent knee to the chest, and then left foot meets the right. Tree pose, stand on the left. So the sun salutes really warm up all the major muscles and joints. Reach up. They're some of the best warm-up poses you can do. Even if you only have a few minutes in a sequence in your daily practice, getting in a handful of salutes will just change your energy, brighten you up, help you release tension, open up. Squeeze the foot in inner thigh, root down through your left foot to rise up and drop more. And now hands to prayer. Take all the good space to Warrior 3. Left knee can bend, right leg reaches back. Flex the back foot, toes spreading, more downward than pointing to the right. Stretch long from your heel through the crown of the head. Tone the low abdomen. Slowly stand up, torso lifts, right knee bends to chest, and release. Last one, reach high, look up. Exhale and bow. Step or jump, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, knees down, or chaturanga, slow lower. Inhale, crawl through, cobra. Exhale, down. Now upward dog. You're going to pull the body on the mat, arms straighten, thighs lift. This is a more advanced back bend. That's why we do it after once we're really warmed up. Do a tiny bend in the elbows, lower the body a drop. Roll the shoulders back, re-straighten the arms. Now look up, thighs are hovering. Smile on the face. Flip over the feet, downward dog. That one's a big one. It's always optional in any practice. I always recommend doing it after you've done several cobras, unless you're an advanced practitioner, you wake up warmed up. Most human beings need some warm-up time there. Now, from dog, come all the way through to this hovering upward dog. So instead of doing the lower down, pull through like a hammock. Toes are tucked, shoulders back. Press it back to downward dog. 2 more. Inhale. Pelvis lowers, curl the chest through, look up. Exhale, hips lift and press back to dog. Inhale, pulling through, gaze is high. Exhale, downward dog. And now, child's pose. Point your toes, separate your knees a little wider than your hips. Sink back to your heels. Turn your palms up with arms reaching to the front of the mat. Rest your forehead. Slow down your breath. You offer up the efforts of today's practice, allowing the practice to feel like a playground, an exploration where you cannot go wrong, and really honor your efforts of showing up. That's the most important thing. Maybe here, just take in a moment to do another snapshot, the end of this sequence today. How do you feel in your body? What's your energy level? It's really important to do that before and after practices, to feel how the sequencing and the types of postures that we're working with affect us. They become intimate tools where we can realize perhaps today I need to fire it up, get motivated. So I'll do some salutes. Or I need to get grounded. I'll do some standing poses. Some days I need to quiet myself, forward folds. Some days I just gotta clear the cobwebs, back bends, and so on. We want you to have an intimate relationship with all of these postures as your own. The next month of practice, empowering you to know how to create sequencing, to move in ways that you feel safe, that you feel empowered to really just nurture yourself, live an inspired life, know how to come home to your center any moment, any time. So please come all the way into Shavasana, lying flat on your back, stretching out. Give yourself 5 minutes if you can. It's a really important part of the practice to rest in stillness and integrate. It's kind of like a reset button after all the stimulation of the movement. And I'll leave you there. Thank you so much for joining us in this challenge, for joining me on the mat today. We'll see you the next day and many after. Namaste.